بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Our topic for tonight is Al-Jumu'ah, the day of Al-Jumu'ah, the chapter in Kitab Al-Wajiz. Al-Jumu'ah, which they call it in English Friday, but as you know from me that I do not really support naming the days with those names because they reflect the names of false gods. So the Jumu'ah, it is compulsory upon every Muslim save 5 categories. 4 of these categories mentioned in one hadith, and the 5th one is mentioned in another hadith. The 4 categories which are mentioned together, the ones who are exempted from the compulsion of Al-Jumu'ah, to come to the Jumu'ah. Number 1 is a slave. For verily the slave is the property of his master. If his master allows him, he goes. If he doesn't allow him, there is no Jumu'ah on him. It's not compulsory. Number 2, the woman. The woman, it's not compulsory upon them to come to the Jumu'ah, even that their house is better than the masjid, unless the khutbah al-Jumu'ah is delivered by a person who is a learned person that would teach the people what they need in the religion, and it would be better for them to come to the masjid. If what she needs to learn about her deen is only from the Jumu'ah, it might be even compulsory. But generally the case, the women are exempted from the compulsion. Third one is the child. Child is not compulsory upon him to come to the Jumu'ah. If he does come to the Jumu'ah, everything that he does in his childhood will be carried in terms of reward, even if he becomes an adult. But it's not compulsory upon him to come to the Jumu'ah. The 4th one is the ill person. Those 4 people are mentioned in one hadith. The ill person is the one that if he is to come to the masjid, it will either increase his illness or it will not be helpful to him, and there will be an agonization, some sort of hardship on him. Then the person is exempted from coming to the Jumu'ah. The 5th one, which is in a separate hadith, and that is there is no Jumu'ah upon the traveler. So this is the 5th person who is exempted from the Jumu'ah. The traveler, there is no Jumu'ah on him. That means he could come to the Jumu'ah if he wishes, and then if he wishes, he doesn't have to come to the Jumu'ah. He prays his 2 rak'ah of traveling. The Jumu'ah has lots of virtues. And when we say virtues of the Jumu'ah, it doesn't mean that the Jumu'ah is not compulsory. For verily, Tawheed, which is compulsory upon every person, monotheism, that is to worship Allah and single Him in His worship, is compulsory, yet it's got virtues as well. It's got excellencies. From those virtues that the Prophet of Allah talked about, he says, he who comes to the Jumu'ah, washed himself properly, and then he prays whatever he can, then he listens to the Imam until he finishes his khutbah, then he prays with him, the sins between the Jumu'ah and the following Jumu'ah will be forgiven for him. And not only that, with extra 3 days, because the Jumu'ah to the Jumu'ah is 7 days plus 3 days makes it 10. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, that is, the Hasanah would receive 10 times dislike. The Hasanah would receive 10 times dislike. So if you did this, you're going to have 7 days forgiveness plus 3 days makes it 10. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the 5 daily prayers, Jumu'ah to Jumu'ah, Ramadan to Ramadan, all of them are sin expiators between them, as long as you avoid the kaba'ir, the major sins. And there is a warning against the one who does not come to the Jumu'ah, where it is compulsory upon him. Verily, Abdullah ibn Umar and Abu Hurairah, they have heard the Prophet ﷺ saying on his pulpit, لا ينتهين, people should stop abandoning, they should stop not coming to the Jumu'ah, should stop forsaking the Jumu'ah, or otherwise Allah will seal their hearts and they will be amongst the oblivious. Seal their hearts, I mean they will not respond to the Qala Allah, Qala Rasul. They will not respond to the words of Allah, nor to the words of His Message. And also the Prophet ﷺ, he said to people who used to not to come to the Jumu'ah, I'm about to command some men or a man to lead the prayer, and then I'll go with people to those people who did not come to the Jumu'ah and burn their houses down. And this hadith was mentioned for Jumu'ah and for Jama'ah, for the congregational prayer. And also from Abu al-Ja'd al-Dhamri, that the Prophet ﷺ said, he who abandons, does not come to the Jumu'ah 3 times for no reason, it's just lazy. So he's not really considering that the Jumu'ah is a great matter, great issue. And Allah Azza wa Jalla will seal his heart. Another narration, he abandons 3 Jumu'ah without any excuse, then he will be recorded from the hypocrites. And that's to tell you how major it is as a sin not to come to the Jumu'ah if you have no valid reason. The person needs to know that if he is looking after a sick person, he is like a sick person. So he's exempted, he's in the category of ill people. So a person who's ill and the person who's looking after the ill because that person cannot do anything without him, then he's exempted from the Jumu'ah as well. The time for the Jumu'ah. The Jumu'ah starts after Dhuhr, but it's permissible to do it before Dhuhr. It is permissible to do it earlier than that. 2 hours, 3 hours before Jumu'ah, before the Dhuhr. So now if the Dhuhr prayer is 11:45, then you could do it even 11, 10 o'clock. If the people want to do that early, no problem. That's the beginning of the Jumu'ah. But the end of the Jumu'ah is Asr. So Jumu'ah finishes at Asr. So the people, especially in this country during the winter season, they should bear in mind that when they start the khutbah finishes, especially those masajid that do 2 Jumu'ah, one after the other. If they start late, they might make the second Jumu'ah in the time which is not Jumu'ah, that is after Asr. Because Asr now at the moment starts as early as later on going to be 1:35. Isn't it? Asr is going to start 1:35. You've been praying here for a long time, Zimba, you don't know what you're talking about. 1:35 in January. And starts at 1:35. It kicks in. It starts at 1:35. I'm not saying about what Jama'ah you're going to be praying. But the Asr starts 1:35. That's the earliest. Some of you do 1:34. So you have to do your Jumu'ah before 1:34. So for those masajid who do have 2 Jumu'ah, because of the tight place, they have to start maybe before the time of Dhuhr. It's not going to be enough time to make 2 Jumu'ahs. If you start, for example, 12 o'clock, it will not be enough. By the time you finish your khutbah, by the time you finish the prayer, by the time people leave, and then the second lot comes, and you start the khutbah, you're going to start 1:15. 1:15, and then you can end up well after praying after the Asr. So you have to be careful with that. With the hadith, Anas ibn Malik, he says the Prophet of Allah used to pray the Jumu'ah after the Dhuhr. And the hadith Jabir, he said, when he was asked when the Prophet of Allah would pray the Jumu'ah, he said, we used to pray the Jumu'ah and then we'd go to our camels to make them relax just about when the sun goes to the meridian. That means already they finished their Jumu'ah before Dhuhr. They go to their camels when the sun goes to the meridian, the zenith. The zenith is just before Dhuhr. So they finish their khutbah, they finish their prayer, they go to their camels, and yet the Dhuhr hasn't started. I wonder how many people they know that the Jumu'ah can start before Dhuhr. I wonder how many people had prayed the Jumu'ah before Dhuhr. Have you ever prayed the Jumu'ah before Dhuhr?
Before.
Ever? Have you? If a masjid wants to put the Jumu'ah prayer time before Dhuhr, believe me, there will be an uprising. They will change the whole committee. What type of masjid is this? No way. Whereas we see Ajahn Abdullah, he says most of the time Prophet Allah will do it before Dhuhr. He will finish before Dhuhr. The khutbah. The khutbah is compulsory. For verily the Prophet of Allah used to make a khutbah on the day of Jumu'ah standing up. And he would sit in between, so it's making it two parts, just like we do it these days. And it's compulsory because the Prophet of Allah have never been recorded from him that he did not do it, the khutbah. So it's compulsory. And also the Prophet of Allah, he said, pray as you have seen me pray. And it's been narrated to us that the Prophet of Allah prays all the time the Jumu'ah with the khutbah. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا مُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. That is, when the call of the prayer of Jumu'ah comes, then come to the dhikr. Dhikr is the khutbah. Comes to the dhikr, so it comes to the khutbah. So some people, they just come to the 2 rak'ah. It's not right. The Jumu'ah is the khutbah plus the 2 rak'ah. But some people go to the other extreme. Meaning, they said if you don't come to the khutbah, they need to do 4 rak'ah. Because khutbah is equivalent to what? To 2 rak'ah. If you do 2 rak'ah, you do 4 rak'ah, which is the Dhuhr. That's incorrect. So both are extreme. The right thing is that the khutbah is compulsory. And if you did not come to the khutbah, you've sinned. You have sinned. Major sin. Unless you have an excuse. How did the Prophet of Allah make the khutbah? Prophet of Allah would make the khutbah in the following way. He says, it is from the fiqh, our understanding, common sense of a khatib, to make his khutbah short and his prayer long. For verily, there is, he says, إِنَّ مِنَ الْبَيَانِ لَسِحْرٌ. There is some words that could have magic. That means, in your khutbah, you have to choose the what? Short words which have a lot of meanings. And if it is the case, then there is no better than using the words of the Prophet ﷺ. Use the words of the Prophet of Allah instead of using your own rhyming words. Use the Prophet ﷺ's words. Because Allah has given to the Prophet of Allah Jawami al-Kalim, the most eloquent speech. Few words, but it has a lot of meaning. So keep using the hadith of the Prophet of Allah. And that is successful khatib. Whereas the unsuccessful khatib, he would use the BBC words. BBC News. CNN words. Not going to be khatib. Sahih. Khatib uses the Prophet Muhammad's words. That's the one. The barakah in it. Concise as well. Right. The Prophet ﷺ, his khutbah was moderate. It's not really long. And it's not really short. It has to have some sort of meaning in it. So it's not true what they narrate about Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu. The khutbah when he did, he just went, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and he went down. That's not a khutbah. And you cannot attribute that to Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu. And if you look at the khutbah of the Prophet of Allah, you will see as well, the Prophet of Allah used to have red eyes because of the way that he's speaking. He speaks with pressure. And his sound is really loud. And his anger can be shown into his face and can be seen. It's like he is warning an army. That is telling them, the enemies are about to come to you in the morning. Or the enemies are coming to you in the evening. So how does the commander tells his army that they're about to be attacked? How does he tell them? Does he tell them, oh army, behind you there is, would you tell them that? No, he would warn them with a very loud voice, just like, be aware, an enemy is there. Same thing the khutbah it is. أنقذوا أنفسكم من النار, save yourself from the hellfire. That's how the khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ. And he would sometimes point with his finger, as-sabbaha or al-musabbiha, the index. So he would point like that. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam. Every time there's mentioning of Allah, point with his finger. That's the hadi of the Prophet ﷺ. He would make it as well his finger like this when he makes dua. Same thing. He would not lead, he would not elevate, or he would not raise up his hands in this way to make dua in the khutbah, except if it is istisqa. Suhaib ibn Abdul Rahman, he says, I have seen Umara ibn Uwaybah, a companion called Umara ibn Uwaybah. Umar ibn Uwaybah, he was in the Jumu'ah and he had seen Bishop ibn Marwan, who is not a companion. He was on the pulpit delivering a khutbah, raising up his hands. So while he was doing the khutbah, he said to him, قَبَّحَ اللَّهُ هَاتَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ. May Allah disgrace those two hands. Imagine you tell it like this. This is a companion. May Allah disgrace these two hands. For verily, I have seen the Prophet ﷺ does not do more than, and he just did with his index. So this is the maximum that he would do. He would not raise up his two hands. Also Anas, he says, that the man entered upon the Prophet of Allah on the day of Jumu'ah, and the Messenger of Allah, he was delivering his khutbah. So he faced the Prophet of Allah and he said, Messenger of Allah, the property had perished. It means he's talking about the cattle. Sheep are dying and there is no food, there's no water. So ask Allah so that he could help us. So the Prophet ﷺ lifted up his hands. This is the only way he said, which is istisqa. He said, Allahumma aghithna 3 times. O Lord, help us. O Lord, help us. And that's when Anas radiallahu anhu said, as soon as we left the masjid, we have seen big, massive cloud coming and shielded us and burst into rain. SubhanAllah. Rain, rain, rain. Until the following week. A week rain in Arabian Arabian Peninsula is a flood. So while the Prophet on the following khutbah is delivering his khutbah, by the way, the Prophet as soon as he came out as well, he was smiling, happy. Following khutbah, following Jumu'ah, he's delivering the khutbah. A man comes, and scholars they differ. Was it the same man? Jumu'ah before? Different man. So while the Prophet of Allah delivering his khutbah, he faced the Prophet of Allah. He said, Messenger of Allah, sheep are dying. Not for lack of water, too much water. Flood. Messenger of Allah, sheep are dying. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to take away this rain. So the Prophet ﷺ raised up his hands again. He said, O Lord, حَوَلَيْنَا وَلَا عَلَيْنَا. The rain to be around us, not on us. He didn't say stop the rain, because the rain is good. But he said, not on us now. قال على الأضراب والأكام, on the mountains around us. They need it. As soon as he made his dua, Anas, he said, we left and was that big massive cloud that stayed for a week. It had actually, it was dispersed and went all over the place. And there's no rain. And the Prophet ﷺ, he's smiling again. But how can the human being never be satisfied? When it's rain, no rain, he's always complaining. Prophet of Allah would never take a sword or anything like that every time he goes to the pulpit. Before making the pulpit, he used to use a stick or a bow to lean on it. But after he made the pulpit, he did not use that. But to make a sword, as you see in Khatib, make a sword. That would be on BBC, straight away. Terrorism. To make a sword on the pulpit. One day I went to one of the masajid and they wanted to make a khutbah. And captured my eye there, there's a massive stick, thick like that. I didn't know what it was for. After the khutbah finished, what is that khutbah? What is that thing? So the khatib holds it and he leans on top of it. So, subhanAllah. This is what we say, the lack of knowledge. After that mid-pulpit, Prophet Allah did not use any bows, did not use any sticks. So they think it's from the sunnah to use the what? The stick. And that stick, if you see it, you'll be scared. Massive, thick sort of pole, basically. Right. Khutbah al-Hajj. Prophet of Allah, he will start his khutbah with Inna alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuh, just like the way I started my class for today. And normally I start my class with this. Usually is the case, which is we call it Khutbah al-Hajj. Then after that, the Prophet of Allah, he would deliver his khutbah, and if you investigate in his khutbah and the speeches of his companions, you'll find that they are concentrating on Tawheed and monotheism, mentioning the attributes and the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioning the general principles of Iman and calling to Allah, and also to mention the signs of Allah, to make Allah Azza wa Jal dear to the hearts of the listeners, and also talks about the warnings to make these people scared from Allah's punishment, and also commanding the people to thank Allah and praise Him. So all of that in the khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ. As soon as they finish the khutbah, they would be in more love to the Prophet, more love to his Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And usually he would also recite Surah Qaf. So in his khutbah, he would recite, he's explaining Surah Qaf. Hisham bint Haritha ibn Nu'man, she said, I did not memorize Surah Qaf except from the mouth of the Prophet of Allah, because of the times he had repeated it, times of that he had recited it on the pulpit. So she used to go to the pulpit in Jumu'ah and hear the Prophet of Allah and listen to him while he was doing and reciting Surah Qaf on the pulpit. So a number of Jumu'ah he did that, and because of that repetition, Hisham, she memorized it. Once the Khatib is making his khutbah, it is a compulsory upon the people to listen. They're not allowed whatsoever to talk to each other, except to talk to the Imam. If it is needed, just like that man faced the Prophet of Allah and said, Prophet of Allah, the cattle are about to die. So if it is to do with the Imam, like for example, let's say that the rain is outside, the Imam is not aware of that, people are outside, so he's telling the Imam, the Khatib, we're just going to ask you please, can you just tell the people from outside to go in? And that would be for the administration. Talking to the Khatib whenever it is necessary, but talking to each other, or verily even if you have seen somebody who is uttering and talking in the Jumu'ah which is not supposed to do that, you're not allowed to say to him, quiet. You're not allowed to say to him what? Quiet. You're allowed to give a gesture. You point with your finger, that means with your mouth, quiet, with your hand, no problem. Why do we say it's allowed to do that? Because it happened the time the Prophet ﷺ, a companion called Ubay ibn Ka'b was sitting listening, and Abu Dharr, who is a younger companion, not as knowledgeable as Ubay, came to the Jumu'ah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet of Allah was reciting Surah Bara'atu min Allahi wa Rasul. While he was reciting the surah, in the khutbah, Abu Dharr came to Ubay ibn Ka'b and he said to him, when did this surah reveal? When was it revealed? When was the surah revealed? So Ubay looked at him and he gave him a frown face, meaning, well, quiet, don't talk. So he said, I went quiet for a bit, but still, before the Prophet of Allah finished his khutbah, I said to him, when was this surah revealed? So he gave me again that look, and with his eyebrows, in such a way that what? Quiet. I went quiet. And after the Iqamah was finished, and the prayer is finished, he said to him, Ubay ibn Ka'b, you did not have Jumu'ah. What you got from your Jumu'ah is what you have just spoken. That when is the day? When was it revealed? That's when Abu Dharr, he was like sort of man. He went to the Prophet ﷺ, the messenger of Allah, Adrik, see what Ubay is doing, he's saying to me. And he told him the story. He said, Sadaqa Ubay. Ubay said the truth. He said the correct thing. After Ubay. For that is Ubay, meaning he shouldn't have spoken. And because of his ignorance, maybe he would be let off. But now, cannot we have an ignorance after that he's been learned. So you today as well, you know that you're not allowed to tell even the person who is making noise to be quiet. But you could put your hand to a gesture to make him quiet. I think we will have the other now.
But a quarter past we praying for a long time.
Let me get any out. Who makes it? تفضل.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We left it before the Salah to the title, how the person would be considered that he caught up with the Jumu'ah. The Jumu'ah, we said, contains khutbah plus the 2 rak'ah. If the person deliberately missed the khutbah, he sinned, but still he caught up with the 2 rak'ah of the Jumu'ah, he doesn't have to do anything except to repent to Allah that he will not repeat that again, that is to come late from the khutbah. But if the person, he has not having the Jumu'ah compulsory upon him, he is a traveler, he is an ill person, she's a woman, he is a slave, as we have said, then he would pray 4 rak'ah dhuhr. He pray 4 rak'ah. And if it's compulsory upon him, and he did not come to the Jumu'ah from the beginning, but rather he missed 1 rak'ah, and he caught up with the 2nd rak'ah, he would add another rak'ah after the Imam is finished, coupled with a repentance to Allah. He will not do that again, just like we talked about missing the khutbah. But if he did not catch up with a rak'ah, he caught up with less than a rak'ah, he came after the Imam said, Sami Allahu liman hamid. That means he lifted up his hands away from his knees, the Imam, and he's into the Sami Allahu liman hamid position. And if this person came at that time, then he did not catch up with a rak'ah, then that means he did not catch up with the Jumu'ah, then he has to pray 4 rak'ah. He has to pray 4 rak'ah. Now, when he prays 4 rak'ah, he has to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he did not catch up with the Jumu'ah, and it's going to be, even some of the scholars, they said, he will pray it, but it will not be counted for him. He has to repeat, he has to repent to Allah. Praying before or after the Jumu'ah, first of all, if the Jumu'ah is performed in a masjid, if you come at any time before the khutbah, you have to offer 2 rak'ah of Tahiyyat al-Masjid, because you're about to sit down. But if you came to a Jumu'ah where it's performed in a hall, not in a masjid, then it is not compulsory upon you to do the 2 rak'ah. There's no Tahiyyat al-Masjid, because it's a hall. And you just sit down and wait for the khatib to deliver his khutbah until he prays. Or you have an option in both cases, whether it's a masjid or it's a hall, that is to keep praying, to come early and to keep praying until the Imam ascends the pulpit, says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, indicating he's about to start his khutbah, and then you stop praying. So you can pray 2, 2, 2 until the Imam ascends the pulpit to start his khutbah. But there is no such thing as some of the people think. There is 2 sunnah of Jumu'ah or 4 sunnah for Jumu'ah. There is no sunnah for the Jumu'ah before the Jumu'ah. There is sunnah after the Jumu'ah. So the Jumu'ah prayer has got no prayer linked to it, sunnah ratibah. There is a general prayer, which is voluntary prayer before the Jumu'ah. That's an optional. The 2 rak'at tahiyat al-masjid, that's compulsory if you come into a masjid before you sit down. But to think that there is a Jumu'ah sunnah before that, that's not correct. As for the sunnah afterwards, it's 2 or 4. If he wishes, he prays 4, or he wishes, he prays 2, and the sunnah is always to pray the sunnah in the house, not in the masjid. The sunnah is to pray the sunnah in the house. But no problem if you prayed it in the masjid. Coming now to the etiquettes of the day of Jumu'ah. There are etiquettes. Those etiquettes, if you bear them in mind, you can maximize the reward. Verily, for every person who wants to to be a witness, to come to the Jumu'ah, and to adopt the maximum from the Prophet ﷺ in order to get the maximum reward, then it's recommended for him to do the following. Whether it's a female who's not compulsory upon her to come to the Jumu'ah, but she wants to come to the Jumu'ah, then first we would say to them, that is, to make a ghusl. And we have said, if you remember, in the ghusl chapter, that the wash for the Jumu'ah, is it compulsory or is it recommended? Huh? Anybody who's here with me? Girls? Commended? What did they say? Well, you're just making a guess. No, I don't want to guess. I want you to tell me what did I say regarding the wash of the Jumu'ah. I discussed it. You know. It's compulsory. It's compulsory. Compulsory to do the ghusl of the Jumu'ah. So if you have 2 ghusl, one for janaba because of wet dream or touching the wife, intercourse with the wife, and over the day of Jumu'ah you have to do 2 ghusl. One ghusl is not enough. First ghusl for janaba, second ghusl for what? Jumu'ah. You cannot just have one ghusl for both. You have 2 ghusl. What does that mean to have 2 ghusl? You dry myself and get another one? No. When you finish washing your clothes and your limbs and everything, then you make an intention for the second ghusl, which is the Jumu'ah. So it could be in the same shower, whatever. As soon as you finish your body and everything, that ghusl, then you start another ghusl without drying up yourself. But you have to start a new ghusl. One ghusl is not enough for both. Compulsory ghusl does not cover up for another compulsory ghusl. It covers up for what was voluntary, but not for compulsory. Do you understand that? Compulsory will not compensate for another compulsory. So if you, for example, fast in the day of Ramadan, and you have a bowed day, you cannot lump them together, fasting Ramadan and bowed day. Right, so coming back, from the sunnah that the person comes to the Jumu'ah is that he's coming to an interview. What does he do? First of all, dresses up smartly, nicely. I'm saying smartly here as a Muslim dress, not with a tie and all of that for the interview. Smartly this as a Muslim dress. Also, perfume, to perfume yourself. Also, you come out, if you can, walking. And when you come out, come to the masjid, you sit, you do not separate between 2. So there's no gap between the 2. You don't just go and make a separation and, make them annoyed. Then he would pray whatever he can from the prayer. Then he would be quiet until the Imam is finished his khutbah. If he does this, it will be sin expiation to the following Jumu'ah. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, he talked about putting the best of clothes. It's like Eid. It's Eid day. When you come to the masjid, you will not go on top of the people's necks and shoulders and harm them unless there is a position or a spot where it's empty and you cannot go to it unless you have to go on top of the shoulders of the people. Then you minimize the harm as much as you can, not to harm them when you are stepping over them, until you get to that very clear gap that you could see. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, on the day of Jumu'ah, there will be on each gate of the masjid angels writing down in their scrolls the time that you enter. First. When the Imam sits down in the pulpit, they will roll their scrolls to sit to listen to the dhikr. And the person who does come early to the masjid is like the person who is sacrificing a camel. And if he is coming second hour, then he will be sacrificing a cow. And if the third hour, he'll be like sacrificing a ram sheep. Sheep was ram, you know, with horns. And if he comes in the fourth hour, it's like forwarding a chicken. And then the fifth hour is like giving an egg, so a sacrifice. How many people are giving eggs these days? Lots of people. And after that, there's no eggs whatsoever. So the last thing is the egg. So you divide your hours from the time the masjid opens. So if the masjid is open from the fajr, you're allowed to come after fajr. So first hour start from sunrise until, so the hours will be counted from the Jumu'ah, the prayer, until the sunrise. So sun rises. So you divide that into 5 segments. Segment number 1, if you come into it, it's like sacrificing a camel. SubhanAllah. Camel costs a lot of money. Sacrifice it like just like as cheap as just coming to the Jumu'ah. Sacrificing a camel. Secondly, second hour, second segment, it's like sacrificing a cow. Third hour, sacrificing what? A ram. Fourth hour, chicken. Fifth hour, an egg. Sheikhi, could you please, Akhwan, come forward. I don't like the class like this, Akhwan. I don't like it. Come forward and get closer. Yes. Get closer. طيب. Prophet ﷺ, he said, من غسل واغتسل بكى وابتكر مشى ولم يركب ودنا من الإمام فأنصت ولم يلغو كذا له بكل خطوة ينطوها صيام سنة وقيامة. Meaning, he who washes and washes, comes early and early he comes, walks is not right, gets close to the Imam and he does not talk. For every step that he traverses to the masjid, an equivalence of reward for a person fasting and praying the night for the whole of the year. Like scholars, they said it's not easy. You have to do your best. Ghassala waghtasal, you wash, and you wash it. And you force your wife to have a wash. That means you make the intercourse in order to make it to make a wash. So for the person who is not married, get married. And inshallah, maybe you will be exempted from that first one. Man ghassala waghtasal. Second one, قال وبكر وابتكر. He comes as early as possible. He's not just early. Takar, he comes after the masjid is opened. The masjid is what? Opens. So for example, if tomorrow opens sunrise, he comes sunrise. قال ومشى ولم يركب. He has the option of riding. Come here, my dear. Come here, my boy. Here. Don't sit at the back. Back is only for back problems. Come here, come on. No. Here, in the middle. I can see you there. That's there. No. Get up, my dear. Get up. You're going to have half an hour to come here. Sit down. Yes, very good boy. Come here. We're not going to bite you. Come. That's it. He'll feel better. So, he who comes as early as possible, then he walks instead of riding. Then min al-imam. He comes closer to the imam, just like when you come closer to the class. So it's not right you come early and you sit at the back, here on the walls. SubhanAllah. Imagine that this person, he knows that the earlier he comes, closer he is, he will be the first to come into paradise. The later he comes, the further away he sits, the more delayed he's going to be delayed from entering paradise. What is he going to do? If these words land on your heart and you understand what we're talking about, you will not swap that place in the front to the swap place in the back. You know, on the day of resurrection, blame nobody except for yourself. If you're going to enter paradise and your hasanat is better, because you sit at the back, they're going to delay. You see people, they go into their places in paradise and you want to go, and you say, sorry, sit back. You've been delaying yourself with the masjid. Not sitting in the front. Not coming to the jama'ah in the front, sitting in the back, the Jumu'ah, classes, everything in the back. So sit back, Allah will lead you. Until you are tortured. That's a torture. That's a torture. Imagine the person when he goes to the fun fair. This is not necessarily a comparison. You know, you go to the fun fair, they buy their tickets beforehand. They come very early to make sure that they are the first people to enter. Because they can't miss some rides, you know. So this guy, he bought his ticket. He's gonna go there. But they said to him, sorry, you've been delayed. Why? Well, we've been delayed. Something had happened. The times, you know, 6 hours, for example, 7 hours it was. Now 6 hours, 5 hours, no ride left. 4 hours, 3 hours. What is he gonna do? It's not to do with the ride now, with Jannah. So the person, if he understands what we're talking about, straight away would say, I will not put my Jannah at stake. I would not gamble with my Jannah, because this is Jannah. Why should I gamble with it? That's why we have weak Iman, strong Iman. Jumu'ah, akhi, when you get Jumu'ah, do not sit in the back. Fight for your first place. Fight for it. Some people are offering. Let it come here instead of me. SubhanAllah. If you knew how millions cost that place, they would not. No way I'm going to give it to you. No share. I can't share it. It's my place. So these days, you know, subhanAllah, the people are not really aware. If you go to the Masjid al-Madinah, there's still some people, alhamdulillah, keen to be in the front rows. It will be impossible for you to get it until you are booking it from the sunrise. Because the people are keen. They know. Well, the people, they don't know. Once they're going to come to a time when the people don't know. They are zuhad, ascetic, not in the deen of Allah, not in the thing that the dunya, in the deen of Allah. I don't have to worry about the first row, second row, third row. SubhanAllah. My dear, on the Jumu'ah, person needs to make sure that he is making dhikr of Allah and dua. Already the Prophet of Allah he encouraged us to do Salaah upon him. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. I mentioned a number of forms of Salah. You could say the Salah Ibrahimi in the prayer. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. In the prayer, you can't say Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. For the normal salutation, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's a Sayyidina. He's our Sayyid. As long as we don't go extreme. And we also pass salutation upon the Prophet of Allah from the night precedes the Jumu'ah. So we start from Maghrib of Al-Khamis all the way to the Maghrib of the Jumu'ah. 24 hours. The Prophet of Allah, he said, it is from the best days, the day of Jumu'ah. In it Allah created Adam. In it Allah made Adam to die. In it Allah Azza wa Jal will make the blowing of the trumpet. The resurrection will take place on the day of Jumu'ah. In it there will be resurrection. So pass a lot of salutation upon me. For the salutation will be given to me. Messenger of Allah, how can this salutation be presented to you when you already had been decayed? That means you have your flesh is finished. So the Prophet of Allah, he said, Allah made it haram upon the earth to consume the bodies of the prophets. SubhanAllah. But that does not explain to you how does the prayer is presented to the Prophet ﷺ. It does not explain to you, even though he is the Prophet of Allah, because we know the Prophet of Allah, his body is not decomposed, it is not consumed by the earth, but he is dead, in terms of that his soul departed his body. But the life of the grave is a different life from ours. The life of the grave is that he cannot hear, the Prophet of Allah cannot hear us when we're talking now. When we say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he cannot hear us. But the Salah is carried by special angels. They are with this task, just to collect the salutation. And they're very quick. They'll take it from you. And as soon as you say it, they'll give it to the Prophet of Allah, not into like, they say it and the Prophet will listen to it. in a way which we don't know. So the Prophet of Allah will receive the salutation in a way Allah Ta'ala. Because the Prophet of Allah, Allah the Almighty, the Quran said, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُسْلِمٍ مَنْ فِي الْقُبُورِ. You cannot make the people in the qubur, in the grave, to hear you. So whether you are a person and saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam next to the grave of the Prophet of Allah, or somebody Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam here in Luton or in Bedford, this salutation of mine is going to be handed in to the Prophet of Allah at the same time, in the same way of that person who is next to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we tell these people every time one person goes to Hajj, please can you convey my salutation to the Prophet of Allah. They always say that, isn't it? What's your answer?
You do wrong here.
I told you that before. Yeah. I allow 20 kilos, brother. I can't really put lots of salutation. I paid a lot for that. Why don't you just say it now? It will be faster than me. That's my answer for them. I'm 20 kilos, brother. My 20 kilos is full. I can't carry a salutation. Say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from now. And we'll reach the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in a way which we don't know. This is Adam. We love the Prophet of Allah. And we pass salutation upon the Prophet of Allah. We use the words of the Prophet of Allah to prove our religion, but we don't go extreme. We don't say the Prophet of Allah has got the light, and every time he walks, there will be no shadow for him, because his light is stronger than the sunlight. So when he walks, there's no shadow. You understand me? Because you have to be stronger light than the sun to have no shadow. Miskeen who say this. Come here, don't walk through the walls. Walk through the walls is not good. Coming to the walls is not good. Say Miskeen. Aisha radiallahu anha, she says. Sahih Bukhari. One night, Prophet of Allah is not on the bed. He's worried. He was with another wife. So she starts with her hand. Because there is no light. The Prophet has got no light in him. It's dark. So she's looking. When she touches his feet. And he was prostrating. Saying, Allahumma inni a'udhu biridaka min sakhatik, wa a'udhu bika min mu'afat. وأعوذ بمعافاتك من عقوبتك وأعوذ بك منك لا أحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. The dua in sujood. She relaxed. Now I'm saying, if you had liked the Prophet of Allah, she would never have the agonization of looking for the Prophet. Number two, alhamdulillah, touching the woman does not invalidate the wudu. She touched his feet, and that did not make the Prophet stop the prayer and repeat the prayer. So we know, alhamdulillah, two things from that, at least. So there is no such thing, light, Prophet of Allah. The light of guidance, yes. Anas radiallahu anhu said, when the Prophet of Allah entered Medina, everything was lit in it. Lit of what? Of Iman. Not lit as in bulbs. And when the Prophet died, everything was what? Gone? Dark. Dark as in knowing. The Iman. The love of the Prophet of Allah is finished. It's not there. It's the Prophet of Allah. They love him so much, he's not there. That's what it means. But as for the Prophet of Allah having characteristics or attributes from Allah the Almighty, that's not true. Coming back. Also from the things which are recommended during the Jumu'ah to recite Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf will be recited after sunrise. And it finishes by sunset. And hadith is authentic by our Shaykh Al-Albani. He who recites Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jumu'ah, Allah will put a light for him between him and the second Jumu'ah. In another hadith, Allah will put a light between him and Bayt Al-Atiq, Mecca. Light of guidance, light of Iman. Third one, or another etiquette, that is to make dua, especially in the last hour after Jumu'ah. This is the best of hours. أفضل ساعة. The best of the days includes the best of the hours. The last hour before sunset is the hour that you want to invest in and ask Allah Azza wa Jal. Don't ask him haram, ask him for the halal. Allah will fulfill it for you. The day of Jumu'ah, he says, the Prophet of Allah, 12 hours. 12 hours, and each hour 60 minutes. 12 hours. He says that there is 1 hour at the end of the, which after Asr, before Maghrib, that is our seek dua in it. Allah will grant you. If you have an option to pray in the masjids, masjid which has got imam upon the sunnah, and the masjid which is not upon the imam the sunnah, go to the masjid what? The sunnah. You've got 2 masjids or 3 masjids, and all of them, mashallah, upon the sunnah. Then you go to the masjid where you think the khatib is going to teach you something, not going to give you BBC News or CNN. Do you understand me? BBC News or CNN is not going to be helpful. You're going to be khatib or no. If all of them, mashallah, good, they're giving you, mashallah, qala Allah, qala Rasul, you go to the bigger masjid. The one which got more people, the Masjid al-Jami', not the smaller ones. So you go to the Masjid al-Jami'. If you have the Jumu'ah and the Eid in one day, then there is an option for you. If you come to the prayer of the Eid, you do not have to come to the prayer of the Jumu'ah. Already the Prophet of Allah had the Eid al-Fitr and the Yawm al-Jumu'ah in one day. So he made a khutbah. He said, in this day of yours, 2 Eids were combined. He who wishes, this will suffice him from the Jumu'ah, but we will make the Jumu'ah. To show that the Imam, he has to make the Jumu'ah. Because in case some people miss the prayer of what? Eid. So there will be Jumu'ah, khutbah, and Eid khutbah. In usual is the case, the Eid khutbah is in the Musalla. And the Jumu'ah khutbah is where? In the masjid. So the Prophet of Allah, he made the Eid khutbah outside, and then he made the Jumu'ah inside his masjid. Now if the person did not pray the Jumu'ah, does he pray the Dhuhr? That's where the controversial as well. Well, Shaykh al-Albani says it will suffice you. Do you understand me? Khalas, there's no Jumu'ah, there's no Dhuhr prayer. Do you understand me? Some scholars, they said no, it suffices you from coming to the congregation, which is the Jama'ah, but it does not save you from praying what? 4 rak'ah. 2 opinions here, very strong, because Shaykh al-Albani said that this is one prayer, and remember we talked about the time of the Jumu'ah. The time of the Jumu'ah starts well before as well the Dhuhr prayer. So if the person had decided to make a Jumu'ah at 10 o'clock in the morning, no problem. So if he made it 9 o'clock in the morning, his khutbah al-Eid plus the Jumu'ah, that would suffice him for the 4 rak'ah what? The Dhuhr. Because it's Jumu'ah. Okay? So, as a controversial, for me, I have no decision for this, but I had about so many times in the last 10, 15 years, so many times we had the Eid together with the Jumu'ah. I always pray the Eid and never come to the Jumu'ah, but I pray my Lord. The reason behind this, number one, we had an athar from some of the followers at the time of Mu'awiyah ibn Abi Sufyan when he was Khalifa, the leader in the Bilad al-Sham. And there was Eid plus Jumu'ah one day. So he did not offer the prayer of the Jumu'ah, but he offered the prayer of what? The Eid. So when they came to the masjid, there was no khutbah al-Jumu'ah, there was no Salah al-Jumu'ah. So the companions and the others, they prayed their Dhuhr on their own, without Jama'ah. They went to Abdullah ibn Abbas and asked him, he said, this is the Sunnah. Now we don't know what is the Sunnah here. The Sunnah is that to one prayer, or the Sunnah is not to have a Jumu'ah. Because we know that the Prophet of Allah, he said, we will make Jumu'ah. For those people that not come to the Eid. That's why it is very controversial. Our Shaykh Mashhur, he has an opinion a long time ago, I don't know if he changed it or not, that if the Imam had made his Jumu'ah, his Eid prayer a bit later than the sunrise, so about an hour or 1, 2 hours after sunrise, and he could combine the Jumu'ah with it, then it will suffice the person for praying the 4 rak'ah. Okay? That's the opinion of Shaykh Mashhur, Hafidhahullah. By this we'll finish, alhamdulillah, Salat al-Jumu'ah. Next time we'll talk about Salat al-Eid. If you have any question regarding what we have heard, the Jumu'ah, or anything that you need to ask about, But I would prefer now to talk about the Jumu'ah. Question about Jumu'ah, please. What is Jumu'ah? What is Jumu'ah, Imam Sir? Running away from the day of Jumu'ah? Chapter of Jumu'ah. Tfaddal. Did you come from the beginning? Did you come from the beginning?
Yes.
Why do you sit in the area on the wall? Why don't you just come forward?
أنا أعرف إنجليزي لو سمحت.
أنا قلت لماذا تجلس بظهرك على الباب؟ اقترب أخي. أنا أمنع في الدرس الجلوس بهذه الطريقة. أحب دائما الجلوس بطريقة يعني تليق بطالب العلم. جلوس طريقة طالب العلم أننا نجتمع ولو كنا على رقعة واحدة لوسعتنا. الصحابة رضي الله عنهم عندما جلسوا في الشعاب وليس في المسجد متفرقين، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما لي أراكم عزين. تسمع عن أكثر من عربي ولا ما تسمع؟
نعم نعم.
ما لي أراكم عزين أي متفرقين، فإن تفرقكم هذا من الشيطان. حديث ثعلبة الخشني رضي الله عنه. بعد ذلك اجتمع الصحابة جلسوا على سجادة واحدة زرابي لوسعته. فنحن الآن يعني في مسجد ولسنا في شعاب ونتفرق. التفرق هذا يؤثر على الأفهام، يؤثر على الفهم. فلذلك نحن نريد اتحاد الأجسام كذلك أو الأبدان كما هو اتحاد إن شاء الله في القلوب. تفضل.
بكر وابتكر.
بكر وابتكر.
يا بكر هذا المسجد بدري. بكر.
العلماء قالوا ابتكر يعني أتى بشيء جديد. والله أعلم أنه بكر يعني جاء إلى المسجد في حين مثلا فتح مثلا يفتح المسجد في الساعة السادسة أو السابعة، لكن ابتكر قد يكون يذهب إلى صاحب المؤذن يقول له افتح لي قبل ذلك، فهناك زيادة على هذا. بكر وابتكر. العلماء لهم تفسيرات كثيرة في غسل واغتسل، انه يختلف مع بعض العلم من مسألة انه غسل زوجته.
نعم غسل وغسل أنا فاهم، لكن بكر
غسل واغتسل قد يكون ليس غسل زوجته. في رسالة حديثة صدرت انه هذا ليس بصحيح التفسير. انا احترم قول هذا العالم الذي قال بذلك، وهي مسألة خلافية، لكن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم في كثير من الأحاديث ترى عنده نوع من يسمى بالشعرية، يعني كلما تكلم بشيء ينتهي بنفس الحرف. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من سوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء فهكذا. فغسل واغتسل بكر وابتكر. فهمتني؟
نعم.
تكون هي من مرادفة الألفاظ والله أعلم. نعم جزاك الله خير. He's asking me about ابتكر, the word ابتكر. Early and early he comes. That's how I translate it. Early and early he comes. نعم.
Those who pray Jumu'ah after Asr, is their Jumu'ah accepted?
Any person prays the Jumu'ah after the Asr is not accepted. Asr time is the deadline. With the consensus of all scholars.
If there's no masajid in the area and there's only one masjid who pray that the Jumu'ah after Asr, what is this person doing? Is he just praying the Dhuhr?
I don't think this masjid prays Jumu'ah after Asr. After your Asr, his Asr is different. See? There's no masjid, especially the Ahnaf. Ooh, he's strict about that. They have to pray the Jumu'ah before Asr. Hanafi says invalid prayer after. Their Asr is different.
No.
Yeah. So, according to their prayer, is correct. According to you, is not correct. So you search for another masjid. No. So we're not going to invalidate their prayers. No.
I was traveling with a friend, and we were praying there traveling.
Oh, there were the sisters there. Sorry, sisters, I want to put the question for you as well. Question was about those Hanafi masjid who pray their Asr a bit later than our Asr. And that is why when they pray the Jumu'ah, it will be after our Asr kicked in. But it's not in their Asr. Their Asr is still some time to go. I would say that the Hanafi prayers, they are correct for their prayers. But for you, you should not pray in that masjid. You should be praying in the masjid where the Asr is going to be earlier. Sorry, your Jumu'ah is earlier than the time of the Asr. The Asr prayer at the moment is almost, I think, just before 2 o'clock or 2 o'clock. 1:45. It's going to come as early as 1:35, isn't it? Very soon. Does it come earlier than that?
No.
1:35, is it? I've seen 1:34. 1:35. It's very early. very early. For the Ahnaf, nothing comes before 2 o'clock. So Zuhr after 2. Now, تفضل.
I was with a friend and we were traveling, so we were doing a traveling prayer. And we combined our prayer.
تفهم أنت؟ تفهم اللي نتكلم ولا ما تفهم؟
لا لا أفهم قليل.
Somebody has to translate to the brother. نعم.
So my friend, he doesn't know much about the fiqh of Salah. So what happened was a man entered the room and he joined the Salah. And we were praying Isha at that time, so we combined. But he's praying Maghrib. So he joined the prayer. This first instance, what happened was, what I've learned is that when you're praying, you stay parallel to the Imam. So he tapped my shoulder instead of joining the left side. So what I did, because he didn't know, I went back. That's number one. Number two is the Imam, because he's praying Maghrib, we prayed for the Isha. He did the salutation quietly, but he didn't say, continue praying, we are travelers.
Who's the Imam? You or somebody?
Somebody else. So I said,
don't lump the question. First question was what? This is the first question, because you're lumping too many things which are not the same. So you are praying on your own? With the Imam. Were you praying together?
Yeah, we were praying together.
What?
We were Isha.
Isha. Praying 2 or 4 rak'ah? So you're travelers?
Yes.
You're praying 2 rak'ah?
Yes.
So what happened? A man came?
And he entered, he joined the
He
Imam.
entered, and it was the time of the Maghrib, he wants to pray his Maghrib.
Yes. No.
And he entered,
Yes.
and you were 2 people.
Yes.
So how did he line up?
He tapped me on my shoulder.
He tapped it in the shoulder,
Yeah.
but that's the correct thing because he wanted to go back.
Okay.
Who's you, the Imam or the Imam?
No, I'm not the Imam.
So you should go back.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
There's
that's,
2 people behind the Imam. So what have you done?
I went back.
Yeah, they should go back.
Okay. So number 2 was,
So what did you think should be done?
I thought he should go on the left side of the Imam.
So the Imam would be between 2 people.
No. I'm on the right side of the Imam. There's 2 of us, the Imam and me.
Yeah.
That's it. And when the man enters,
So you go, well, the first and where should you go?
he should go on the left side because
Left side of what?
left side of the Imam.
So that means the Imam would be between you 2. Can you just please say? The left side of the Imam. You are on the right.
Yes.
He goes on the left. The Imam is going to be between you 2. Yes or no?
Yes, but
So what do you mean yes or no? So you want to put the Imam between you 2?
yes. But he pulled me back because what I've learned when the Prophet
Hang on. So you want to go to the left.
he wanted,
So you want, don't worry. So you wanted to go to the left. I know where the fatwa was coming from somebody who's a da'iyah on the thing, he said it and it's incorrectly, lots of students of knowledge. So, yeah, no, I'm not going to mention the name, because he had messed up lots of minds. So he came, really, when the people, they don't have knowledge and they start talking to the people, especially in this country, it makes it a mess. And I have to really clear up this mess that these people, they do. Isn't it? He started that the prayer is about the Imam, fi shughl. He's got shughl. Lots of things to do. And then he started like this. Allah musta'an. No scholar would say that. So if the person comes in and he knows that he should be behind the Imam, he should tap his shoulder, or even without tapping his shoulder, he will just go behind and you should reverse. Not like at the time of the Prophet of Allah with that man, he doesn't know what to do. He came and he lined up. Because the first man who came, it's called Suhaib, he came also on the left of the Imam. So the Prophet of Allah put him on the right. So should we tell now the person, brother, when you come to the Imam on his own, come on his left. So he could really hold you from your ears and put you in his right. Understand me actually? It's the same thing, same logic. You understand that? You don't come to his right straight away. No, come to his left. And then he will hold you from your ears because he held Abdullah ibn Abbas's ear. From the back like that and put his right. So the same thing is, he come here to the first, the Imam, you go to the right. You don't go to his left and for him to go turn it to the right. Now when the person comes in and he knows, he should be behind. So he will not come to the left of the Imam so that the Imam would push them together like that. Like the Prophet did to the 2, push them together like that. No. He would go to the back and you would reverse. And the Imam will be enjoying his recitation or whatever he's leading. So you would go. If there is no space to go behind, then the Imam would go forward a bit. So that we'll be joining behind. So let's say that there is a river. They might fall into the river behind. For example. So the Imam could just squeeze himself a bit up so they could squeeze behind him. If they can't, it's only for the 3 of them. Then at this time, they will be one on the right, one on the left. If there is no space behind it. Say that they are just for one row. There's a river in front, a river behind. Let's say. Okay? You can't go forward, so the imam will be in the middle. So that is the solution. Second question.
When he finished, he didn't say continue praying. I'm a traveler, so I did it.
So the imam, which imam?
The imam that was leading.
So the imam which is with you at the beginning,
Yes.
after he had finished his prayer, so for the sake of, you mean that brother
Yes.
who is, but why should he say that imam, I'm a traveler, where this person he joined in 2 rak'ah. Do you understand me? And he knows that this person is going to come in with what? With 3 rak'ah. So whether he's going to say the word or not say the word, he's going to go up for his what? 3rd rak'ah. So he should not say anything. And let's say that he made a mistake and he's supposed to say something. You don't say that on his behalf. As a person behind him, you're not supposed to say anything. He's the imam. But let's say that the imam was praying 2 rak'ah of the Isha, which you were doing, and the person was praying Isha as well. Because it's not Maghrib time, it's Isha time now. So most likely that person is what? Praying Isha. So you're going to pray 4. So he came in. If the imam believes that this person came in and he is praying Isha, then when he finishes, just for the sake of him not making a mistake and making salutation, number 1, he would not make salutation loud, just for you to see it behind him. And he would say after that, continue your prayer, while I'm not troubled, or we are troubles. And then he would continue. Okay? That's the whole thing. Just like Allah. Now,
there are some people who say that the Prophet is made of light, and they think that they have some kind of evidence. Like they say that there's a hadith about Allah made light of the Prophet, and then he divided it into 4. He made the arsh, made his arsh, and he made the pen. How do we deal with these kind of people who say this kind of stuff?
that question, I would not like you to start firing it up in order to immunize yourself to go and fight these people. We're not really here to go and charge. Every time this person makes a mistake, go and charge him with something. Okay? I mean, let the person who is saying these things, first of all, understand what is your aqidah being taken from. Because if you corner him in one thing, you're going to have another thing. Corner him in that thing, have another third thing. Because of his basis, his foundation is wrong. So let's clear the foundation and make it a clear base, and we build upon it. But already the foundation is rubbish. No matter what you're going to build on it, it's going to collapse. So you're going to corner him with this, you're going to be bothered with something else, because his creed is different. So let's just talk about how do we take our creed? How do we take our aqidah? Is it for you what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولِ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. There's 2 ayahs. وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى. Does he believe the person should follow the Salaf manhaj? And فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنكُمْ فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ, if you are not clear about something, فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ, send it back to Allah and His Messenger. Then if it is the case, then I will start, telling that this is the sunnah. But I would not, wallah, advise you, my dear, to start your knowledge, to go and start, putting horns, start charging like a bull with these people. Wallahi, I don't advise you. Once you do that, then you will be doing like what the Salaf used to say. For example, Al-Khalifa Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he says, من جعل دينه عرضة للخصومات فقد أكثر التنقل. He who does makes his religion a religion for khusumat. Khusumat is what? Disputes, debates. Then he will make a lot of changes. Changes in his position, changes in his words, changes in his methodology, changes in his stances. Because he keeps what? Disputing, keeps debating, so he's going to change. And that is why when a person came, I'll tell you what, Imam Malik, he said, verily, the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the religion that is for the one who's got more argumentation. He's more argumentative. He's very strong in argumentation and debates. When a man came to Imam Malik, he said to him, I want to debate with you. So he said to him, okay. what about if you win? Do you follow me? So what about if I win? He said, I follow you. So what about a third person comes and he wins over us? So we follow him? Allahu al-Musta'an. He said, Ya akhi, the deen of Allah, it is not for the religion of the person who is the winner. It's not like this. So debating with these people, al-arsh and all of that, you're not going to get anywhere. I would say, clear for him the foundation. What you are on is not right. From the beginning, without going to these little tiny details, Wallahu ta'ala. Is that?
About a ghusl, if you had a ghusl for Jum'ah and in case you have intercourse with your wife, what are you going to do? And also,
If you have intercourse with your wife.
So yeah, you had a ghusl for Jum'ah, and after that, you had intercourse with your wife.
After the Jumu'ah.
No, after the ghusl.
After the ghusl of the Jumu'ah and the intercourse.
Yes.
So you have two intercourses. First intercourse.
You didn't know the question, did it? That's it.
That's the reason why I'm asking that question.
So you had your ghusl Jumu'ah and you had intercourse after that.
Yes.
خلاص ghusl Jumu'ah is finished.
For ghusl for the Jum'ah is there.
You do just ghusl Janabah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. And also...
So what's wrong if you have two intercourses?
Not if it's understood.
So let's say I have intercourse at the beginning, and then you had ghusl Jumu'ah, plus ghusl Janabah, then you have another intercourse, you have only ghusl what? Janabah. That's it. So another one as well? Now,
what about the women? Is it compulsory for them to have ghusl, or what even if they don't attend the Jumu'ah?
no. Any women who do not attend the Jumu'ah, the ghusl Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon them. How can we make compulsory the Jumu'ah on them to make the ghusl and not compulsory to come to the masjid? If they want to come to the masjid, it's compulsory upon them to make the ghusl. Okay? No. طيب, good questions ما شاء الله. تفضل. عندك سؤال في الجمعة؟ طيب.
سؤالك بيقولوا في الغسل بتاع الجمعة كنت بفسره.
يقولوا هم؟
نعم.
بقول أنت قلت أنه غسل الجمعة واجب وغسل الجنابة واجب.
نعم.
فغسل الجمعة لا يغني عن غسل الجنابة ولا غسل الجنابة يغني عن غسل الجمعة. غسلان واجبان كل لابد أن يؤتى على حدة. فبقول هو أنا الآن بعدما أنا أتيت بغسل الجمعة يوم الجمعة جمعت زوجتي، فهل آتي بغسلين جمعة مرة أخرى وكذلك غسل الجنابة؟ قلت لا.
يكفي غسل واحد؟
فقط غسل الجنابة. لا يكفي غسل واحد، لا بد من غسلين. غسل الواجب لا يقوم عن الواجب، الواجب لا يقوم عن الواجب. نعم.
If a non-mahram touches you, you say break the wudu.
If the non-mahram touches you. So if you touch, for example, a woman, whether it is deliberate or not deliberate, you have given her money in her hands, you touch her hand, whether it's deliberate or not deliberate, nothing had happened, does that break the wudu? Can anybody tell me the answer for that?
No, it doesn't.
You have a consensus among the scholars of Bedford. خلاص. This is a question, very simple, my dear. No, it does not break the wudu.
What's the advice nowadays where people are not lining on the front first, they are going at the back and leaving gaps around it, you know, on the circles. And you come in and go to the front.
Oh, you mean in the prayer?
Yeah, no. Sitting down the Jumu'ah time.
Oh.
What's your advice now?
Advice? Okay. Any person who comes to the Jumu'ah and he finds gaps, that should show the lack of knowledge onto these people and the lack of knowledge of the Imam that he's not addressing this issue. I blame both. So the Imam, he has to really sort out these people. It might take him years. It doesn't matter. It took me years to discipline a masjid. They see me, they're scared to go to the wall. Because then you don't know I'm going to start my khutbah until they are away from the wall. Because they come early and they go to the wall. You go to Wise Masjid and no way they go to the wall. That's it, the front, all of them. So the back will be always empty. But if you come to the masjid where the Imam does not address this issue, they will make it like a club, you know? Each person is in just a hubbly bubbly, hook a pipe. And he's always like he's coming for a picnic. True or not? So they know that, oh, I should be competing for the first row. And you'll know in that masjid in High Wycombe, there will be no space whatsoever, first and second row. No way. No way, there'll be a fight. No, it's very tight. Okay? So that's how it is. But it needs, as I said, it needs the discipline of the Imam to tell the people. The people, they're not aware of it. So, I could tell now the brothers who you know, but you want the Jumu'ah, the flying customers. The ones you don't see them in the classes. Those are the ones where we need to target. Bit by bit, inshallah. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah ya akhi. It's not really, I will tell you what, your masjid is not as bad as some of the masjid I've seen. Alhamdulillah. Wallahi, some of the masjid I started, the khutbah al-Jumu'ah, that's in my country. They're not even in anybody in the middle. All of them on the walls. Some of them even like this, like. He's coming to have a bit of breakfast here. Allah musta'an. I changed my whole khutbah into the etiquette of Jummah. Just talk about etiquette of Jummah. What are the people doing? Subhanallah. And when the people come, everybody looks, that's the correct way. They will do the same thing. فسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.